Hello, everyone. Today, we want to share with you a heartfelt and emotional love story, where love is not just about sweetness, but also about tears, sacrifices, and moments teetering between loss and hope. This is the journey of Ly Tu Diep and James, two souls who found each other after enduring storms, illness, separation, and wounds that once seemed impossible to heal. Just when it seemed all the hardships were behind them, when they finally held hands and signed their marriage certificate, a promise of a lifelong commitment, an unexpected twist struck. Diep's past, long buried and seemingly forgotten, resurfaced with the shocking truth about her mysterious ex-husband. What really happened? How will James's mother react? And, more importantly, is their love strong enough to withstand this new storm? Join us as we follow their moving and powerful story in today's video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next chapters in this inspiring journey of love, resilience, and unshakable faith. After a long and painful journey battling a life-threatening illness, Ly Tu Diep not only reclaimed her health, but also found the love she truly deserved. On a gentle, breezy afternoon, filled with soft golden sunlight, James knelt down and proposed, not with a dazzling jewel, but with a promise from the depths of his heart. "I want to be by your side, forever." They began planning a simple yet love-filled wedding, one held by a riverside chapel with church bells echoing in the wind and fragrant flowers blooming as if nature itself were blessing their union. Everything pointed toward a new beginning, complete and full of hope. But life, as always, is unpredictable. Just when everything seemed perfect, an unexpected storm hit. James's mother, the strong woman who had raised him with unwavering love, suddenly fell gravely ill. A severe case of pneumonia landed her in the hospital in critical condition. Without hesitation, James and Diep postponed the wedding. To them, true happiness wasn't just being together. It was standing side by side to protect the ones they love most. The days that followed were a blur of anxiety and tension. James stayed by his mother's side every minute, every second. But then, an urgent matter from the city unexpectedly pulled him away from the hospital. Before leaving, he looked at Diep with eyes full of guilt, as if he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Diep understood. She gently took his hand and gave a soft nod. There was no need for apologies, no need for instructions, because she knew this was the time when love wasn't just spoken, it had to be shown. Though her health hadn't fully recovered, Diep stayed. She quietly cared for James's mother as if she were caring for her own. From each spoon of porridge, each pill, to the warm conversations that filled the long, weary nights. She didn't do it for James. She didn't do it out of obligation. She did it because, in her heart, this woman had already become family. At first, James's mother kept a polite distance. But, day by day, through every glance, every gentle gesture filled with care, she began to realize love doesn't always need grand declarations. It lives in the smallest, most tender moments. One afternoon, as the golden light of dusk poured through the window, she quietly took Diep's hand, her voice trembling but sincere. "You didn't have to do all this, but thank you for loving me with your whole heart." From that moment on, she no longer called her that girl Diep. She called her daughter. And for the first time in many years, a quiet certainty settled in her heart. Her son had found the right person. After many long days battling illness, James's mother was finally able to return to the beloved home that had held so many cherished family memories. No more scent of antiseptics, no more steady beeping of hospital machines through the night. Now, she could breathe in the calm, warm air of the home she had built with love over a lifetime. Her recovery wasn't just of the body. It was a renewal of the heart. The time spent in the hospital, though filled with exhaustion, became a turning point in the relationship between her and Diêp. There was no longer distance, no longer hesitation, only understanding, respect, and sincere affection. She had come to see the heart of Diêp, a woman who not only loved her son deeply, but who was also willing to give her whole heart to care for his mother, even without being bound by any official commitment or title. From that moment on, they were no longer just two women from different generations. They were two women who both loved the same man, both devoted to protecting the same family. Their bond grew quietly but steadily, as natural and certain as the rhythm of life itself. They cared for one another, listened to each other, and treated each other with the warmest kind of love. The love of family. Life in the countryside continued to flow gently, like an unspoken melody. The wind still whispered through the trees, the sunlight still lingered on the old brick steps, and people's hearts found peace in the quiet rhythm of time. That day, Diêp stopped by to visit James's mother. No need to call ahead, no need for a reason, because by now there were no formalities between them. James's mother opened the door, her eyes lighting up with a gentle joy. It was as if just seeing Diêp made the whole house feel warm again. She invited Diêp to stay for lunch. Without hesitation, Diêp smiled and stepped into the kitchen. With the ease of someone used to housework, this countryside girl blended into the kitchen as if it had always been her own. She washed vegetables, stoked the fire, seasoned the dishes. Every movement radiating care, grace, and a quiet beauty that moved the soul. Two women, two generations, stood side by side in that small kitchen. They weren't just cooking, they were weaving a quiet yet unbreakable bond, a bond of empathy, trust, and a growing sense of family. They laughed, they talked, and they waited for James to come home, just like a real family. When the meal was finally laid out, James's mother suddenly grew serious. She sat down beside Diêp, her eyes filled with a sincerity that was impossible to hide. "Diêp," she said softly, "you're not just kind and capable. You understand James, more than anyone else ever could. I believe you're someone who can walk beside him, not just in life, but in his work too. I want you to consider becoming his secretary, to help him manage the company, to support him. But more than anything, I want him to know you'll always be there, that you are his strongest pillar." Her words held no pressure, only a mother's trust, offered from the depths of her heart. Diêp sat in silence. Her heart stirred, not with worry, but with deep emotion. She had never expected that a mother once known for her strictness would place in her such profound faith. In that moment, Diêp was no longer the girl visiting the house. She had truly become a part of it, a part of the family. That meal was truly special. not because of any elaborate dishes, but because of the warmth that radiated from the hearts of the three people gathered around the table. Laughter filled the small kitchen, blending with the scent of freshly cooked rice and steaming hot soup. James's mother, with her gentle eyes, kept lovingly serving food to the two young ones, and Diêp, every now and then, would glance at James and smile, a smile as pure and peaceful as the first sunshine of spring. It was hard to believe that after all the storms they could now sit side by side like a real family, simple yet truly happy. But behind James's calm demeanor and faint smile, there was something he couldn't put into words. In those seemingly bright eyes of his, a flicker of unease remained, a worry that only he could understand. The shadow of the past hadn't let go. James still remembered John, the man who had once betrayed him, caused him deep pain, and was ultimately brought to justice by James himself. But now, somehow, John had been released from prison earlier than expected, and worse. James had just received word that John was quietly resurfacing, not to rebuild his life, but to seek revenge. That thought lingered like a silent blade at his back, never letting James find a moment's peace. But James was not a man who surrendered easily to fear. As the pillar of the family, the protector of the woman he loved and the mother he cherished, he knew he couldn't allow even a hint of doubt to show. He gripped his chopsticks a little tighter, pushed the worry aside, and smiled. The soup tastes amazing today. The two most important women in my life really are a perfect team in the kitchen. His playful remark made his mother laugh, and Diêp blushed, her cheeks turning a soft pink from shyness. Only James knew the silent vow hidden behind those light-hearted words. No matter what happens, he would protect this home with all his strength and all his heart. After a meal filled with laughter and the warmth of family, Diêp and James's mother sat together on the front porch, where the golden light of dusk filtered gently through the leaves like delicate strands of silk. The breeze whispered softly, carrying the scent of flowers from the backyard. The air was quiet, not cold, but warm in a strangely comforting way. Diêp lightly wrapped her hands around the warm teacup, her eyes distant and clouded with thought. There was something in her heart, long buried, that now urged to be spoken, a truth she had kept hidden, like a thorn lodged quietly within, no matter how sweet the present love might be. "There's something I've never told you," Diêp began, her voice soft and trembling. "I was once married. It was an unhappy marriage, and I can't have children anymore." Her words pierced through the silence like a needle. Diêp lowered her head, her heart tightening with fear. Fear of a change in the older woman's gaze, fear of a sigh, or worse, of hearing the disappointment she dreaded. But, to her surprise, James's mother showed no sign of shock or withdrawal. Instead, she gently placed her hand over Diêp's, her eyes more tender than the golden light around them. "You think I would turn my back on you? My dear, everyone carries their own scars." She paused, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "When I was your age, I lost my father, the person I loved most in this world. I know what it's like to lose, to hurt in places no one can see, but it's those very wounds that make us stronger, kinder, and able to love more deeply." Diêp looked up, her eyes now shimmering. She had never expected such compassion, such deep understanding from a woman she once thought might be stern or hard to reach. "I'm not perfect," she whispered, but I love James with every ounce of honesty and truth in my heart. James's mother smiled, a gentle, proud smile, and I believe that's exactly what my son needs. In that moment, the labels of mother-in-law and future daughter-in-law faded away. What remained were two women, both scarred by life, holding hands and accepting each other through a love that was real, honest, and free of the world's harsh expectations. The love story of James and Diêp is not just a journey of two people overcoming life's storms, but a beautiful symphony of love, sacrifice, and unwavering faith. Their love wasn't built on grand gestures or dazzling moments, but on the simplest things: a shared glance, a hand held in times of weakness, or a silent understanding in the face of pain. They walked through difficult days, illness, painful pasts, and the worries of an uncertain future. But what kept them grounded was the sincerity of their love and the unshakable trust they had in each other. This isn't just a love story. It's a gentle reminder that true love isn't perfect, but it is always forgiving enough to heal and deep enough to endure every challenge. Do you see a part of your own story in the journey of James and Diêp? Thank you for staying with us until the end of this journey. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to follow our channel so you won't miss the next videos about love, life, and the kindness that surrounds us.
Câu chuyện của James và Diệp không chỉ là hành trình của hai con người vượt qua sóng gió, mà là còn bản giao hưởng đẹp của tình yêu. Đây không chỉ là một tình yêu, mà là còn lời nhắc nhở nhẹ nhàng rằng tình yêu đích thực không hoàn hảo, nhưng nó luôn đủ bao dung để chữa lành và đủ sâu sắc để vượt qua mọi thử thách. Cảm ơn bạn đã đồng hành cùng chúng tôi đến cuối cuộc hành trình này. Nếu thấy câu chuyện chạm đến trái tim của mình, đừng quên nhấn theo dõi để không bỏ lỡ những video tiếp theo về tình yêu, cuộc sống và những điều quanh ta nhé.